wax off, boys and girls. Got another weekly Q&A. I wanted to share something with you guys, by the way, just so you know, like real human stuff. I got kids. My ass woke up super tired today, and I remember my first thought was I don't want to do anything. Nothing against you guys. I love doing these Q&As with you, but I'm like, maybe not. And powerful mindset shift from I have to I get to, and thinking about like how cool you guys are, how awesome this is, and just reasons to want to do this. Quick announcement just before we get into the questions is going to be running, look for that probably tomorrow. It just kind of depends on when I feel like setting it up, to be honest with you. But tomorrow, I'm going to be running a 5-day Kindle sale on Amazon where you can get the book for free, or anybody that you know who would benefit from, feel free. We'll be running a 5-day sale on the book, on Amazon, on Kindle, and that's all I got about that. So you guys can get that for free for just, I would do it longer, by the way, but Amazon literally only lets you do it for a couple of days. So I guess it's good, motivates people to take action. So let's get into the Q&A, the good stuff, the meat and potatoes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Finn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Who do we got first? Ben says, quick question, guys. Would it be all right if I change my bidding strategy if the shopping campaign is still in the learning phase after 2 days of launch? It hasn't generated conversions, but that's not the reason we want to change the bidding strategy. Thanks, Ben. Ben, this was an AdWords question. And yeah, especially if you have no conversions, it's okay to change your bidding strategy. Although that should probably tell you if your basic stuff is not converting, you may just want to check your offer. I know everybody wants to check the algorithm optimization and the targeting and those things, and I'm not saying none of those things matter. They do, but I'll tell you my experience is it's most likely the offer, and so that's the thing I would actually focus on, not campaign settings and all those things, because we forget, man, this is so basic, but there's a human on the other side of that ad, and that's why I always say, like, psychology before technology. And I'm not saying the technology isn't important, but if you understand the psychology of the human on the other side, you'll write better ads and you'll have less testing and optimization to do. I just posted a win by Steven in the group, and we were just having a private conversation. I thought it was really badass. He had $60,000 in sales. This was for a client in the solar niche that he had made for the client, and he spent like $161 on ads. And what was especially impressive to me wasn't that obviously that's a astronomical ROI to generate $60,000 in sales for like $150, but it was all the things he didn't do. He didn't split test audiences and ads and campaigns and only raise the algorithm a little bit, and he didn't give all this money to the Zuckerberg. It was just one really great offer, say it simply and put it in front of people. And that's the kind of ads that I would like to see you guys run, because I think you'll make your life a lot easier. If you're running ads because you love split testing and you love doing those things, then by all means, do all those things. But I'll tell you, if it's just a means to an end, then focus on having a really great offer and put the psychology above the technology, and you'll watch. Your stuff will just get better, period. You'll write better offers. Akil says, hey members, if you were to start your agency today, what niche would you choose? I'm going to be the bearer of bad news for you, Akil. It would be nice if somebody could just say, choose this niche because it's fucking awesome, and that would be it, and you would be done and wouldn't have to decide. But the truth of it is you have to decide. And I'll tell you, there's a couple of factors that affect which niche. And I'll tell you there's two big reasons, by the way, that people are in new niches. Reason number one, people, is they're just choosing a niche for the first time and they're unclear about who their target person is. And there's also a second kind of person that we work with a lot in the mastermind, where they've been doing a niche for a long time and either they got bored of it, or the COVID restrictions and stuff have made that niche kind of like more difficult or more impossible. And so they're switching niches and changing what they're doing and all that. So there's lots of reasons to change niches. Now, I'll tell you, First thing that I look for in a niche is, am I going to have real fucking empathy for these people? Like, I'm going to have to deal with these people. Am I going to like talking to them? I'll tell you, we've dabbled in a lot of niches since, like, I've been doing this since 2007. I've tried probably, I don't know, a couple dozen niches in that time. And I'll tell you, every niche has pros and cons. So, like, I'll give you an example. Like, when I was dealing with chiropractors, I found chiropractors to be way fucking nicer than lawyers. And that was really nice because a lot of lawyers are assholes. They've earned that reputation. But they also seem to be less entrepreneurial as a whole and have less money. And that didn't jive with me as well. I also worked a lot in, like, the roofing niche. And we had, like, what I call the redneck niches, all the general contracting stuff. And those guys are really cool and simple and easy to reach and understand. But I'll tell you, I've never been a swing a hammer kind of guy. And so I didn't necessarily understand that mentality. Like, you generate a lead for a client. Sorry, I got drunk on Friday night, couldn't answer the phone Saturday morning. Like that happens a lot in that niche. So the best niche for you is going to be a niche where you actually have real empathy for that. And then what I would suggest is aim at the highest value thing, highest value client you can bring within that niche, because there's always a spectrum of leads and clients. Focus on this, right? Like, I'm doing a side deal right now with the legendary Jay Abraham. He has a whole spectrum of products. Like, he's got a flash drive of things that starts at like $200, and he's got a $250,000 mastermind. I could help him sell either of those things, but I might as well aim my sales at the $250,000 mastermind. And that's true in every niche. The scale might not be as wide, but that's an extreme example. Like, if I sell one of the $250,000 things, I'm going to move the needle far more than selling even thousands of the $200 thing, right? So there's a version of that in your niche. So choose some people you have empathy with. There's a loud ass truck going by right now. And then after you've chosen that, think about, like, what is the most valuable thing you could bring them and focus on that. Of course. Loud ass construction zone. Maybe I'll just take a second here and let this guy go by. In the air tonight. So Josh says, hi all. I'm looking for a VA for cold email. I'm just wanting to send emails, sort a bit of data from time to time, sort positive and negative responses, create a blacklist of opt-outs and not interested, etc. I'm looking for someone to charge. I'm not looking for someone to charge me $1,000, $2,000 a month, but someone that is a VA that knows a VA they can recommend. Here's the deal, Josh. Before you can bring in a VA, you have to have a working set of processes and step-by-steps they can follow. And this, by the way, once you have this, it's so much easier to get VAs. I'll tell you, when I first started, I used to bring in VAs and I'd say, like, go build backlinks for me. And then they didn't know how to fucking build backlinks, right? Not good ones anyway. And I was like, why don't you know how to build backlinks? I've been doing this. But of course, I'm the entrepreneur. It's my job to know. If I run an SEO agency, it's my job to know how to do that, right? So most people, if you have good, clear instructions, can follow it. And so what you want to do is, one of my mentors always says, efficient or effective before efficient. And what that means is most people are trying to automate shit before it works. So it sounds like in your case, you have to have a set of documented instructions based on what to do when they opt out, what to do when they say they're not interested, what is your offer, what is the sequence of messages you send. And when you have that, then you can document it step by step, and you can have almost any VA succeed. So if you want to be successful in that arrangement, I know it's really enticing to have a virtual assistant just take all the work off your plate. But if you don't have clear instructions, they're just going to take your money. It doesn't matter how much you pay, and they're not going to produce results because it's impossible for them to follow, because they have to in video and then bring in a virtual assistant. You'll find lots of them can make your life easier. Usually that's how you show up as a good boss, by the way, is having clear instructions, clear expectations, clear processes, good training, welcome them to the company kind of thing. And you're a bad boss when you just say, like, go do it, go build it, figure it out, because what ends up happening is they're just, most employees don't necessarily know what's in your head, and so they can't succeed without it. I see this, like, I had a live in-person workshop with a bunch of lawyers, and they were trying to get logos for their website built and little graphics built. And I said, I just get those things on Fiverr. And they said, well, I've hired people on Fiverr, and it's never any good. And I said, well, what instructions did you give them? And they said, build me a logo. And then they're unhappy with the logo. So I'll tell you what I showed them is, like, Show them 2 or 3 logos you like and say, build me something like that. And now they have a clear expectation of what it's going to look like when it's finished, right? They understand what they're trying to do. And you'd be amazed. Most of the people on Fiverr are pretty good when you can tell them what it is you're trying to build. So the biggest thing about that is you got to be a better boss by having clear processes and instructions and those kind of things. And then you'll be able to find all the VAs you want. Trevor says, every time I duplicate my ad or raise the budget, my CPM increases. How can I increase results? My CPM is and the whole thing goes to shit. Right? Like I've had that. I know what you're saying. Like if you're spending 5 days and you want, or $5 a day to test an idea, the idea is working, you want to spend 500, all of a sudden it stops working at 500. So here's the deal though. I'll tell you, almost always it's actually an offer problem in disguise, because it means your offer isn't like mass appeal enough or isn't clear enough. And that's why I say like ads, too many people like really obsess about the technology, and you want to nail the psychology before the technology. You do that, what you'll find is a shit ton of your ads will perform. And so it's hard to say without seeing your exact ad, but if at $5 a day it's working, what will happen is Facebook can find like the super hyperactive people in the niche that are looking for that thing. But as you start to scale it and expose more people, you'll find out your offer just really isn't that good. And the best way to do it is just make it more desirable, de-risk it, up the value in what you're doing. And what you'll find is your ads should, by the way, should almost feel like you're announcing something to give away rather than like, will you please give me money? I'm begging you to give me money kind of thing. So that's the best news I have on that is check your offer, and what you'll find is the technology will cooperate a lot more. This was just an awesome comment. It wasn't necessarily a question. Brian says, today I was reading chapter 5 of your book, chapter 5 of your book, Beyond the Agency Box, where you were talking about upselling customers that at first glance seem like only a one-time transactional sale, but you said with a little thought there are ways to sell more products or services to that customer. That got me thinking about the preschool business of all things, because I know some people in that arena, and how to serve and sell parents after their kids graduate from the preschool program. This is just one of the examples that could be applied to other businesses. Would just brainstorm enough about it. So Brian, this is a really, really deep topic. Is people don't understand that the point of making sales is to get clients, is to get customers, is to open that relationship. And so I always use the restaurant example because it's the easiest place to wrap your head around. Is I see restaurants will do anything to get a customer in the door. They'll give a Groupon and they'll basically give their shit away for free. But then once you're a customer of the restaurant, they don't do anything to bring you back, right? Like they're only interested in new people. And part of the reason is we've been conditioned to believe that the only way to grow a business is by adding new people. Always have to be adding new. And usually the best way to add new is to be very efficient with the resources you have. So I'll give you a real life example. I would meet 2 very distinct kinds of lawyers. I would meet a type of lawyer who would say to me, I would consult with them and they would say, I can't afford to advertise on TV because those are the big shot lawyers just have endlessly deep pockets to advertise, and I don't have endlessly deep pockets. Then I would consult with that big shot lawyer, and they would say to me, I can spend $6,000 to get a $6,000 case because I know how to generate referrals. And so even if I don't make any money off the first person, I'll make money off of the second and the third and the fourth person they bring. So it's a longer term strategy. In other words, I can break even on the front end because I make money to every business. Is that at the very least a business should be okay with breaking even to get a customer. Now customer away. So bringing this back to your preschool example, there are things that parents could benefit from in preschool. Like for example, I just sent my kids just went to the park and they got a little Peppa Pig backpack, right? That's now. That's not like some future deal. Like they're buying school equipment. All right, they're not actually going to school because they're too young, but a lot of kids who go to school have little backpacks, right? I guarantee you, if you called the backpack company and said, hey, we got like 30 kids that all could benefit from your backpacks, is there any way we could work out some kind of extra value deal, or maybe you give them a discount or a better backpack or a higher quality thing? Is there any? I'd love to introduce my customers to you. Do you think that the backpack place would be interested in that kind of arrangement? Well, I'm going to bet the answer is yes. I haven't tried it, but I'm willing to bet the answer is yes, right? That's a pretty irresistible offer. And do you think the parents would benefit from stuff they're going to buy anyways, getting at like a discount or a sale or anything like that? So there's lots of ways you can add value to those relationships now. Now, Jay Abraham calls this the theory of preeminence, or the strategy of preeminence, rather. And what it looks like is the way most people approach this agency game is basically as if their clients are walking credit cards with legs. And those people often treat their clients as if they're a walking credit card with legs. They see them as just one-time transactions to be kind of exploited. At least that's the best I can tell from how a lot of people behave. And the strategy of preeminence is when you start looking at your customers and I wrote about this in the book, but a friend of mine at the start of March of 2020 closed on he's an entrepreneur, he got a roofing company. He asked me if I could help him. Now, there are about only 17,000 ways that he could monetize his list of customers. Because, right, if they have a roof, then they probably have a house, right? Like, that's just obvious 101. And what do people with houses need? They need electrical work. They need plumbing fixed. They need gardening. They need food delivered. They need mortgages. They need insurance. They need real estate people, right? So if you can vet those people and bring them into the door, not only can those be other revenue streams, but all those people can potentially send referrals back, right? Like when you start thinking about the strategy of preeminence, I'll tell you the biggest shift it's made in me is I don't see anyone as a competitor. Anyone, like there's nobody I look at as a competitor. Everyone to me is a potential collaborator. Like I had a guy who we were talking about, like he had the same kind of idea that I'm running for the lawyers, and I was like, maybe you'd be interested in helping me with the operations and working together and collaborating on that. I could have viewed him as like, oh no, he's going to steal my idea kind of thing, but I'm like, how can we work together? And so when you do that, what you'll find is preschool, right? These are parents. Parents need a lot of shit, right? Parents need minivans. I'll tell you, I got one, right? Parents have housing challenges. Parents have babysitting needs. Parents have food needs. Parents need shit delivered. Parents need nannies, right? Like there's only 18,000 ways you can help those clients right now. And you can, and I'll tell you where another place, just to give you an example of how powerful this is, okay? I have two types of friends. One friend his name is Marcel. He's in Florida. He owns a karate studio. Marcel's a really cool, awesome karate guy, but he's kind of broke as a business owner. And he says, well, I don't really want to learn how to sell karate. I just wish people would come in the door, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have friends in New York State named Clinton and Joe, and Clinton and Joe own 30 karate studios. And their secret is they go to all the big events, like the sporting events, and they hand out flyers and say, come to our free karate event. At the free event, they sell a certain number of memberships. People come in the door, but that's not still where they make their money. They make their sale on sale number 2, where they have a guaranteed black belt program over like a year-long thing. They'll guarantee your kid will get a black belt, and it's like an accelerated training thing. It takes 12 months, and they charge $5,000 for it, right? All these other karate studios could be selling the $5,000 black belt thing. They're not, right? So that's where the real money is when you get creative and coming up with these back-end offers. And so almost always businesses have assets and resources in the form of their customers they're not using. So when you understand that, like you can have whole spin-off businesses that are easy to start and start with customers on day one. Like the hard part most people are trying to do is get customers. There's businesses galore who have customers who have no fucking idea what to do with them. So the opportunity is massive in that. So great comment, Brian. Shemaiah says, I was working for free with a roofing contractor just so I could get a testimonial video, and I doubled their business in 6 months with SEO. How can I offer value and start charging for my services by cold calling web design agencies and creating strategic partnerships? Because I want to stop wasting time and start growing my business. If anybody has a script or advice or next steps, much appreciated. Shemaiah, you're actually sitting on gold. Because I'll tell you, the number of people when they're first starting out that tell me the thing they need is a case study. If I just had an awesome case study, like I could move the needle forward. And there's a simple reason. Case studies work. They sell. You're sitting on one. The first thing I would do, by the way, is talk to your existing client and say like, hey, I've been hustling my ass off to get you guys here now that you've doubled. Like, can you pay me? And you'd be amazed. They'd be like, well, yeah, you didn't ask before, but I'm happy to pay you. You've been kicking ass for our businesses. So, like, you probably have a paying client sitting there if you just ask. And do it in a way where, like, before you ask for the money, remind them of I doubled your business in 6 months and all the value I've created. Then ask for the money. Those two things will go together. Contrast the money conversation with the value. Now, having said that, if you want to get in the door with, like, white label stuff, you're going to have to probably do more free shit. I know that probably doesn't sound more exciting, but I'll tell you how I did it. Is a web design agency is not going to turn over 100 clients to you. That's just too much risk to their reputation. So what I say is, like, just give me one client for a little bit. Like it, we can do more, but there's no obligation. You have to be the one willing to charge clients one-to-one. But if you got a roofer and they're happy, chances are other roofers want that same damn exact thing. So just put it in front of other roofers and go, here's a case study of how we took, ABC Roofing Company in Atlanta, Georgia, to this many phone calls in this many months by getting to the top of the Google. I guarantee you other roofers are going to want that. So those are just some thoughts in there that I hope are helpful to you. But you're sitting on a bunch of really good assets that if you get more out of them, you'll get more cash in your hands. Nikki Two Angels, with the strategy of dentists using an insert to give it patience, be a referral campaign. If not, what would be an accurate thing to call it? Yes, you can call it a referral campaign. The deeper idea, by the way, Nikki Two Angels, behind it is, we do all these things for businesses to generate leads and sales and movement, and all of those things are good. And I'm not saying not to do them; like they're pretty badass. But often we work too hard trying to create resources that they don't have when they already have resources. So when it comes to referrals, it's really, really simple, right? Like, people want to tell other people about cool businesses. Like, if you go to a good restaurant, do you not want to tell somebody, like, hey, I found this really cool, good restaurant? It actually just happened to me the other day. We went for a wood fire pizza. In Mexico, there's no wood fire pizza. I was kind of blown away it was good quality pizza anywhere, and it happened to be here in Mexico. It's the first, like, really good pizza I've had. I'm kind of a pizza snob, as you can probably tell. And so I told other people about it. But I'll tell you, most businesses where they get this wrong is their strategy to generate referrals is to hope. Like, dear God, please send me some referrals today. And I'm not saying, like, hey, faith is a good thing. I ain't knocking anybody's faith. But it's way more active if you put a proactive thing, right? It would be very easy for that restaurant to say, hey, how did you guys like your meal today? Oh, it was fantastic. Well, cool. Here's a free appetizer that you can give to some of your friends and family. We'd love to have them come in here too. Right? So the dentist insert, coming back to your original question, like, that's how you want to think about it. Like, what kind of free sample, whether that's information or training or getting to know the dentist or just answering questions or come in and get the consultation for free, what kind of free sample can you give away to make it easy to have that conversation? And what you'll find is you can generate referrals, and I'll tell you, this has a compound effect. For years, we ran Facebook ads and only Facebook ads for lawyers, and then we started including a little free sample, and it doubled everything we were doing with Facebook ads. Suddenly, our Facebook ads were twice as powerful, because when we bring in somebody through Facebook ads, at the end of it, they would refer, right? So if you combine those things, and referrals are so damn easy because they're almost always doing nothing and getting referrals anyway. And so you just, where can I introduce a little free sample? Like, I like to think about Costco. When Costco wants to sell more pizza, by the way, like I said, it complements Facebook ads and things like that so well. Radha, my dear, says, so I lost our first client. They stated it was communication gaps with our company and it was clearly coming from their end, but I wasn't going to argue. I believe they found someone cheaper to do the work. They'll perhaps be a maintenance client. It's inevitable and part of the agency journey. It's good news as this client was the most challenging and the lowest MRR first client. Nothing is forever. They're also behind payments 60 days. I'd love to ask what steps you had in place to transition off a client. They're asking us for system recommendations and basically to map out their digital calendar before parting, which seems odd to me. How do you transition a lost client with the best relationship possible? They may come back and always want to be open to that. Radha, I love that the first thing you're asking about is your reputation, because I'll tell you, not enough people think about this. Because I'll tell you, if you do this agency game for a while, as I've done, like 14 years, you're going to get fired. Like you're kind of like a sports coach. Sports coaches don't last forever. They get fired. It's just part of the deal. And agencies get fired. Like that's how it is. And how you handle that firing will determine both like how other people in your niche see you, because they will talk at certain points at conferences and things like that. But not just that, you would be amazed at how you take the firing. So like I've had clients who let me go. And I'll tell you, this is my most secret strategy, is right after a client lets me go, I send them a handwritten thank you about how much I've grown and appreciated that relationship together. And if there's anything I can help them with in the future, like door is still open. If you want to work with them again, I would leave that part out if you don't. In this case, it sounds like I wouldn't want to work with them. They sound like high maintenance and broke. But nonetheless, they may know other friends who are not high maintenance and broke, right? So when you do this, what you will find is I've had clients who fire me and then 2 years later call me back and say, okay, I need something, and we're right back into that relationship, just because the way you ended that firing was like, instead of like, how dare you fire me, we have put in hours and sweat and tears, and instead of just going, hey, like, I so appreciate you, I totally get it, you guys are dealing with cash flow ups and downs, you got to let me go. I just want to let you know, if anything changes in the future, you're always welcome in my door, and I really appreciate working together. Man, if somebody fires you like that, the door is still open and they will come back, and that's pretty amazing. So having said that, in your specific case, this client sounds like what I'm hearing: a lot of work, low maintenance, big demands, and behind on payments. Like those are all the check marks for like not a good client. So I understand, like, it was your first one. I wouldn't lose too much sleep over it, because not enough people realize that the time and attention and focus that you waste on a client who's never going to be happy, who demands a lot and pays a little, takes away all your earning time to go be able to actually generate cash flow from good quality paying clients. I experienced this in the first mastermind we ever ran for the agency. There was a guy in there named Thomas, good friend of mine, and Thomas had this one local client who was like $400 a month and was driving him fucking crazy, and was trying to figure out how to salvage the relationship. And it was similar, where they checked all the boxes of a bad client, and my answer was, fire them, just let them go. Like, you'll save yourself all these headaches over what, $400 a month? You're telling me you're not even making money after you pay your staff? And they were like, well, what if I can't find somebody to replace them, and that kind of scarcity thinking that comes in. And I said, just try it and see. And what ended up happening is I decided to start bidding on big government contracts, because they had never done it. A month drive you fucking crazy client. They weren't bidding on the $200,000 a month easygoing guaranteed income kind of client. And those things are only possible when you let go of the bad clients, which is why, by the way, I'm so big on first dates, because for real, bad clients will take up a lot of mental bandwidth and resources that could be better used to like grow your business in a positive way. And so when you let that go, what you're going to find is it's just a more harmonious kind of deal and relationship. And so I don't think you've lost anything. But having said that, I would still like think about your reputation. Always thank clients when they let you go. And if you want to work with them again, leave the door open. If you don't, just end it on a thank you. Like, you appreciate the opportunity, you've grown, you've learned a lot from them. It sounds like they got bigger issues anyway, like cash flow is probably an issue. So anyways, those are kind of my thoughts on that. Hope that's helpful. Mania says, Any creative ideas for standing out against other agencies when doing a face-to-face pitch, apart from having a great proposal, of course? Would be great to hear from anyone that has done something outside the box or has any suggestions. Mania, I'm going to tell you a little secret. It is not about your proposal or your sales pitch standing out. What will actually make your life a whole lot easier is uniqueness of what you are offering. Because I'll tell you, and I've used this example last week, but it's a really powerful illustration. So there is an agency that that has virtual assistants who answer the phone, and they are in the personal injury space. They're called Alert Communications. And if I had to guess, Alert Communication is probably doing about 10 million a month. Like they're a big organization. And they only do one thing, is a lot of personal injury lawyers answer their phone from Monday to Friday, 9 till 5 o'clock. And people call them 24/7. They're getting leads on Saturday morning. What's up, Ryan? I hope you were here earlier because I was just talking about your comment from the book. But if not, I'll tag you in the replay. So Alert Communications, by the way, they answer the phone after hours and on weekends. That's their deal. They're an agency and they do that. And the reason why people hire them is not because they're great. It's because they're unique and they solve a problem that nobody else solves. And there's lots of, by the way, agencies that offer virtual assistants that answer the phone, but they're the only one who organized it in a way for personal injury lawyers to answer the phone after the hours. So they probably, for real, they're almost doing $100 million a year, if I had to guess, in their agency. And they're mediocre. They're not like terrible. They wouldn't be 100 million, but they solve a problem in a way that nobody else solves it. And so that's the real key, is not like doing something really creative and quirky with your proposal. I mean, I've done things. I've actually heard, by the way, read a book once where a guy was trying to reach a Fortune 500 CEO, couldn't reach him, so he decided to go to the FedEx office, and he put himself in a giant box and FedExed himself to the CEO, first like priority. So they drove him over on a truck, opened it, and he said, "Hey, I'm so-and-so, nice to meet you." And the CEO said, "Holy shit, if you're willing to do this to get a meeting, all right, you got a meeting." Okay, cool, Brian. I'll give you a timestamp later when I'll get my virtual assistant to grab that for me. So anyway, with that, having said that, like, there are things you can do to make your proposal stand out, but the best thing you can do is come up with a unique offer. And I'll tell you, my 2 steps for coming up with a unique offer are so damn simple that people like want to skip them. Like it can't be that easy. Pick a niche of people, then find out the highest value thing that they offer in that niche and specialize in that, and come up with your own unique methodology for doing that. So I'll give you a real life example so you can understand what I mean, okay? When I first got into SEO, it just worked out that way. I didn't plan it, but I ended up becoming like in the plastic surgery niche. Like my first few clients were plastic surgery. I got them results. Other plastic surgeons wanted it. Somehow I became the plastic surgery guy. And I found I was really good at ranking websites, but we would go to the conferences and have to sell it. And I was very, very bad in those days at selling SEO. I didn't know how to tell people, like, this is the coolest shit ever. It'll double and triple your practice. I know how to do it. I'm really good at it. Just give me your website and I'll fucking turn it into a lead spitting machine. Didn't know how to say any of those things back in the day. And so we would end up like chasing people and have to write custom proposals and all that kind of shit. "Sir, have you read my proposal yet?" And I fucking hate me a mommy makeover website. Now, makeover is the expensive procedure in that niche. It usually starts at like $30,000-$40,000. Like it's like a head to toe kind of surgery thing. And surgeons like it because they make a lot of money off it. It's relatively easy to do, or it's in their wheelhouse, I should say. I don't do surgery, so I don't know. But one day the guy said to me, "Could you make me a mommy makeover website that was just about mommy makeovers, and could you rank it in my city for mommy makeover keywords?" So we spent a day and looked. Of course, we could build a website and talk about mommy makeovers. And I checked all the keywords. There was some search traffic, and there was people looking for that. And I was like, yeah. And in some ways, it was actually easier because everybody was bidding on the really big plastic surgery Dallas, plastic surgery New York City kind of keywords. There wasn't as much competition to be like nose job Atlanta or mommy makeover Atlanta or those kind of like specialty procedures. So we built them this mommy makeover website, and lo and behold, if you build a mommy makeover website and you make it all about mommy makeovers, and you rank for mommy makeover keywords, the phone rings with mommy makeover people. And they would make like $40,000 every single time the phone would ring. And they were very, very happy with that. And whenever we would come into a surgeon and we could say, I could make you a mommy makeover mini site and rank it, like the credit card just opened up. There was no hoops to jump through. There was no proposals. There was no send me a custom detailed report. It was like, that thing you did for Dr. So-and-so, I want that. Right? And that's the key with having like a really great offer, is like suddenly you're swimming downstream. So I'm going to tell you, it's not about your proposal standing out. It's about your offer that you're putting in the proposal standing out. That is like how, at least in those days, I don't think you could do it anymore, but that's how we differentiated our SEO services. And it's the simplest thing in the world. We picked a niche, plastic surgery, and then we found out the really expensive thing in that niche, mommy makeover, and we created our own methodology for getting mommy makeovers, which what we knew at the time was, we'll build you a website around those keywords and we'll rank it. And people wanted that offer, and we didn't have to try very hard to sell it. So that's how you stand out from the noise in your case, in all the other agencies. That's the easiest, most proven way to do it, I should say. It's not the way. I never want to tell you guys there's the one way to be successful, but it's the easiest, fastest, like most tried and true way that I know how to do it. Chris, last question here. Chris says, hey guys, looking for advice on how to reach out to previous warm leads from last year. Basically, we created in-depth digital marketing proposals, Facebook, Google, email, etc. for them, but the pitch was not successful, or they went cold, incognito. What would be a nice way to reach out to see if they were potentially interested again in 2022? This is a great question, Chris, and I'll tell you, not enough people realize that if you follow up with leads that did not convert, you will convert some of those into sales. Like people that ghosted you last year will come back and buy from you this year. I know it's hard, like not enough people have that long-term focus in this kind of game to be able to play the long game. I'll tell you though, when it comes to following up with unconverted stuff, I never do that one-to-one, like super hyper personalized, unless I'm like, sending a direct mail that appears to be personalized, but I always do that one-to-many. So one thing I might do, for example, is send them all a letter in the mail using click-to-mail. And it would just say something along the lines of like, hey, it's Chris. Haven't heard from you guys in a while. Just wondering if you guys still need any help with blank. That's it, by the way. That sounds like, can't be that simple, but the best stuff is simple and it works, and you would be amazed. I've done this for multiple companies, by the way. And I almost always, by just emailing hey, do you still need any help with your roof? And a certain percentage of those people either put it off or now have a leak, and they were like, yeah, call us. And they went and quoted like $50,000 or $100,000 worth of jobs that they got. And it was really, really simple. It was like a 3-sentence email. And so a lot of times we think it has to be super complicated. So what I would use click-to-mail for is to personalize it. So the letter to Brian says Brian, the letter to Joe says Joe, the letter to Cindy says Cindy, and so forth, so that when you're following up, it's very personalized. Hey, I know we quoted you on that job last year. Just wanted to see if you guys need any help. I'm still here. So simple, but it works, right? Because a lot of times, by the way, there are timing reasons why they don't hire us. Like a lot of people don't realize that, like, for example, in the personal injury space, the lawyers love to turn on their marketing after they get a big settlement check. So like a lawyer gets a $250,000 case. One day he has $250,000 in hand. He's like, okay, I want to market it. I want to use this as marketing and spend it on getting more big cases, right? But until he gets that check, he's broke and he cannot work with you, right? Like it's just a timing thing. Like he's waiting on the big settlement check. And so if you contact him beforehand, he will ghost you. He will put you on the incognito, and it doesn't mean he's not interested. I know a lot of people treat it like on a sales call, like if you don't buy this now and get my discount, then you will never ever be successful in your business. But the truth is there's a lot of timing things that underline just and then, for example, another thing that will come up is like sometimes our clients are drowning in delivery. And so you show up and say, hey, I want to bring you more clients. They're like, I don't need more clients. I need someone to help me with the ones I got. But then you wait 3 months and it's shifted and they're slow again. And they're like, shit, we're slow. We need to do something, right? Like there's just natural ebb and flow to business. So what I do is whenever you're following up with unconverted stuff, always do it one-to-many. Send them a training. Send the same training to everybody. Send the same letter to everyone. Send the same email to everyone, right? Like don't hyper personalize it, but there's lots of ways to do that. And I'll tell you, my favorite is just simple click to mail, little 1-page letter, 3 sentences long. Was thinking of you, wondering if you still need any help. You'd be amazed. Some of them will come back and you'll convert deals that were in the pipeline. And it's hard by the way, for people to understand who just got into this business, like in the last 2 years, since all the COVID hysteria, is to understand that like some of the people that didn't convert now will be your clients later. And I didn't know this until I got like years and years into the business. And like I said, people would ghost me for like 6 months and then call me back and be like, I need you, man. And you realize, like, what the hell? Like, you ghosted me. Or I had situations where I got on a sales call with somebody and it turned out we just weren't a fit. But 6 months later, their business had changed and we were a fit, right? And so we end up working together. Like, there's lots of scenarios like that happen. So easiest source of revenue, if you got it, before you add more new leads to the front end, think about better utilizing the ones you got. So that's a great example of that, Chris. Appreciate you sharing that, because you're sitting on a mountain of gold, and anybody who wants to help Chris get it probably could get a commission check for doing so, using the methodologies just mentioned. I just want to re-highlight for those of you guys who missed the beginning, sometime, most likely tomorrow, just to be honest with you guys, when I feel like it. I do a lot of my shit when I feel like it. Like, you'll notice these lives are never at the same time on Monday. Kind of just do it when I feel like doing it. That's kind of how I do things in my agency. There's a framework, but it's not like a rigid schedule. I do things when I want to do them. And so sometime tomorrow anyway, to get to the point, I am going to run a Kindle sale on Amazon. They let me give away the book for free. And I would appreciate you guys just leaving a review. And anyone you know, if you've read the book yourself and you just want to get a Kindle copy, you're more than welcome to do that. If you know somebody who could benefit with them, share it, because there's some really cool ideas in there. But I just, the more and more this, I see people saying like, hey, your onboarding process changed my life, or the 5 stages of age. Just like, if I just help one person who's in the same situation as me, that would be cool. But I would love to give that away to you guys. So I will be announcing that in the group, that there's a free book giveaway on Amazon. And like I said, I would just appreciate a review, because that helps other people going forward. Even if the review says your book is terrible and I hate you, I'm okay with that. All right. So it helps other people who are going to hate me too to know that I'm hateable. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys on that. And that's all I got for you guys on today's Q&A. Great questions. I love seeing your progress. I love seeing you guys win and create really cool stuff, and doing it against the grain. Like when I see Steve making $60,000 in sales with a $160 Facebook ad, understanding psychology over technology and not having to do all the miserable things everybody says you have to do with Facebook ads. When I see you guys do those kind of things, I'm just like, I'm super proud of you guys, super grateful for all the amazing things you do. And seeing new ways to approach business much smarter and more easier and more effective, and ultimately better for the clients, and brings real innovation to the space, and gets marketers out of seeing, I always say this when I talk to lawyers, the only people who have a worse reputation than you are us. Like, people hate marketers even more than lawyers, right? Like, it's kind of unbelievable. Lawyers are only the second most hated people on earth. And I want to change that. I want to see us seen in a positive light. And part of that, instead of spamming everybody with the same old shit, is bringing real innovation and bringing real value and taking care of our clients, and helping them run their businesses and helping our clients win. And when you guys do that, just really lights me up. It's a big part of my mission. So that's enough of me rambling. That's all I got for you guys in this video. May the force be with you, and I'll put the replay on YouTube.